They don't get so hot that they burn the crap out of you. They only burn you if you're cream puff. And if you're that big a cream puff, you shouldn't be driving a Dodge Viper. Be the kind of person that nobody wants to try to steal a car from. That's the best security system. But again, if that makes you angry, you're a cream puff, and why are you even watching a video on an awesome American icon like the Dodge Viper? Because you are probably not the kind of person to drive it, and I don't care. Today, let's check out the Gen 1 Dodge Viper RT10. This is my particular car. It was built in 1992 and is in fact serial number 00030. So that's kind of neat. Obviously, it was an early order. Now, it was built in 92, but as that typically goes, it ended up being titled in the very beginning in 1993. But it's kind of exciting for me to have one of the first and I'll say best, tongue-in-cheek, Dodge Vipers. Go ahead and look all around. We're going to check it out. Got a few water spots and stuff on here because I actually drive it. It's a fantastic car, but it's one that is riddled with myth. Almost as much myth as DeLoreans were back when, but not quite, because it wasn't the entire media world trying to destroy a new car company like in the early 80s. It was Dodge. And this was when Dodge was being cool. Now, Dodge is still being cool, but this was coming out of the 1980s. This is Bob Lutz, hair on fire, a little Czechoslovakian fighter jet, which he likes to bang around in, smoking cigars and riding a nuclear missile, kind of cool. And I like that, because basically what he was doing is making a production Cobra, but with this having, of course, the V10. Now, let's just go right into it. Are they dangerous widowmakers? Yeah. If you're an idiot. It's an awesome car, and it's frankly kind of a pussycat to drive. You know, kind of old school. You reach in through the grill and you pop it open. Now, you might think, Casey, that's probably an issue for security. Well, I don't know if it's on the early one, but on the second gen Dodge Viper, which if you just look over there right now while I'm yapping, that one, if you try to open the hood, the alarm will go off. And that's what they do for security. But on the very first Dodge Viper, as you guys know, there's no real roof. There's no roll-up windows. There's no door handle on the outside. You don't need all that crap, but we're going to come back to it. Anyway, boom, here is the 8-liter all-aluminum V10. The other misnomers, people are like, that's a truck engine. Well, you can think that, again, if you're an idiot. They did put a similar engine with the basic same architecture in trucks, and frankly later put in ones that were about as nasty in trucks. But obviously, this was designed to be fast and good, where the shall we say, the ethos is no replacement for displacement, which is a fancy way of saying this is gosh darn America, we're going to do it big, and we don't care. And I like that. And you know why I like that? Because what's over here under a cover, which I won't drive in the rain, is a big sissy sandcast motored Ferrari with rubber band timing belts that likes to brake. Now, the Europeans had governments and insurance companies and stuff basically making it terrible to have displacement to drive, so they made their teeny tiny dorky little engines high-strung to make power. And that's annoying, because that crap breaks and is unreliable. This is America, darn it, and we make big engines that can lazily make power for years and decades and go crazy. That thing has 100,000 miles on it, is going strong, and only now am I building it into a track-based car. Because it's awesome, because it's big and strong and lazy and doesn't break. Here's the other thing. The reason why everybody puts a supercharger or turbochargers on it is because when you have a crap load of displacement and it's a push rod engine, you're not going to make more horsepower by trying to rev it to the moon. You make more horsepower by cramming air and fuel down its throat because it can handle it. And that's awesome. That's basically all you need to know. Well, that's about all some people know. This is still a steel tubular frame hand-built car, and that's pretty neat. And yeah, sure, it's a little rough around the edges, a little rattly, the interior's a little on the cheap side, but I don't care. And nor should any of you if you have one. I especially like these Dodge Vipers because, with the exception of this being a very early one, built the first year in 1992, serial number 30, it's a little more prototypey, it's a little more handmade. There's some small details on it with the fuel system and suspension and such that were quickly changed over into 1993, even and beyond with the first gen cars that were a little more production-like. So this is one of the very early cars, but even still, I found it to be dead reliable and just a lovely car to get in and drive. It always starts, it always runs, it always idles, and it's easy to drive. Sure, you can get yourself in trouble in it driving, but that's if you're an idiot. Just don't be an idiot. I don't even need to use a door handle because if you want to, you can just stand in it like a real man who drives a Viper and boom. So if your door doesn't work, just jump in. Be the kind of person that nobody wants to try to steal a car from. That's the best security system. And it probably works for the mob. So if you see a really expensive car sitting out, especially in a funny neighborhood, and it's unlocked and the windows are open, don't steal it. You know, you do have some of the things that are cheap. You got the Chrysler radio that was used in every Chrysler car, including a minivan. And then where the heck did I put the key? There's a key around here somewhere. Found it. And so you have the same key fob used in every Chrysler from that time period, including minivans. And again, idiots will be like, it doesn't even have a special key. It's from a minivan. Well, who cares? It's a key. This is, you know, what do you want to be pampered like in a Bugatti Veyron or something? Fine, go buy that. Plus the Bugatti probably has a Volkswagen key anyway because it's the same auto group. You got your basic gauges laid out. You got volts, so you know if it's charging, your battery's worth a darn. You got fuel, so you know when you need to get some fuel. You got oil pressure, which is really important, so things don't blow up. And you got water temperature. It's not really that important to know your oil temperature because if the water temperature's fine, your oil pressure's probably within reason. And if you're going to prepare it for the track, maybe you'll put in more stuff. But for the street, you have everything you need. Tach, speedometer, you can see it all. You got all the things you need. I don't want traction control. I don't want ABS. I don't want windows. I don't want any of that crap. Just give me my tape player that I can put all my old Top Gun tape in it. I'm good to go. There's the stereo, but you don't care because it's a first-gen Dodge Viper. Now, a couple things. One, in the early cars, the seat belts are actually on the door. They're mounted to the door, which seems a little sketch to me. I guess it works, but it seems sketchier than if it was mounted to the chassis and then back to the chassis. So it comes over you. Let's see, is this backwards? No, this is not backwards. Whereas my Dodge Viper, they're in the middle so they can attach to the chassis and then come over here and attach to the chassis again, but backwards like a Lamborghini Diablo or Murcielago. Whereas the early one, I think it's a little sketch to attach it to the door, frankly. And if I open this, take a peek. Look at this. The doors, I'm gonna be honest, it's lightweight and it's on the flimsy side. I'm sure there's some side impacts, malarkey going on to it. But let's face it, this is a car that you stay safe in by going by this motto or ethos. Protect your car. If you're driving in such a way that you might wreck it, go off the road, or hit something, you're gonna hurt your car. Don't hurt your car, and you won't get hurt. So don't worry about yourself, worry about the car. It's got locks right here, which is kind of pointless. I don't know what that's gonna do. Basically, if you had the side curtains on, and they're just like a metal framework, and they're in the back with like vinyl windows, you unzip it and you unlock, you open the door and you can lock it. But like, I don't know who that's gonna keep out. You got the Millennial anti-theft device here, as they call it, stick shift, 6-speed, T56 does well. The stock cars are geared a little too tall. Presumably, because even back then they're like, emissions and fuel mileage, like anybody cares if you buy a car like this. And like this is actually what's actually destroying the environment. Give me a break. They're sort of geared too tall, so 6th gear is way overdrive, and 1st gear isn't as low as it could be. So for instance, my blue Dodge Viper over there has a little bit different ring and pinion, which lowers the gear ratio slightly. You can still hit the top speed, no problem, better part of 200 miles an hour in the blue GTS, but it makes it better for driving in the real world and matching it to track and street. The seats are okay, they bolster pretty well, they're a little smushy, they're a little bouncy, not the best, I'll be honest, but it gets the job done. And this particular car is an icon when it came out. The Dodge Viper RT10, this one, when that thing came out in 1992, was awesome. The trunk is actually made quite well, the structure of it. I like the way the composite panels are done. This is where the side curtains are kept. And actually, this is a really, really cheap material, but it works. Here's the windows, and they got some soft separation and stuff to keep it nice. And even the foam is still in good condition all these years later. But these pieces of metal jam into those holes, and then you have like one finger tightening knob or screw to put them in place, and that's it. And then this is the folding up soft top that goes on the top. It does look dorky, I'm gonna be honest, and there's a lot of wind noise. In fact, the previous owner fashioned this device out of cardboard and duct tape to kind of jam in there to cut down on the wind noise. Yes. Anyway, it's got a spare tire. If the spare tire is stupid, you probably just take it out, and it's got a jack and all that crap. This particular one has the battery underneath all that, which makes it a little annoying to get to, but not that bad. And let's be honest, when you're driving a car like this, not that bad is pretty good. It's got a prop rod, probably lighter, it's cheaper, so they can spend the money on going fast and being awesome. And wouldn't that be nice today if cars were actually built where people could afford them? So that's that. I need to clean this up, but again, I drive it. It got some water droplets on it, and some of this was from the 4th of July, raining down freedom and awesomeness of America. Beyond that, the big 3-spoke wheels, some people don't like them. I gotta be honest, I really like the style. And for this, it was super in fashion, it was super cool. But as far as I'm concerned, the only car on the planet that should have 3-spoke wheels is the early Dodge Viper. But the problem was people wanted to copy it because the Viper was such an icon, it's so cool, that then there became all these really dorky 3-spoke wheels in the 90s that quickly went out of fashion, looked terrible, which is I think why some people don't like it on this car. But I think when those people go, whoa, wait a minute, and get past themselves and their own emotional reaction to dorkiness and go, wow, that was an icon and looked really good, they'll go like me and go, I really like these 3 spokes. Thank you, Bob Lutz and testosterone. There's gonna be some other nerds that are like, oh, I don't like the build quality, oh, it's panel gap and stuff. I have one word for you. Shut up! Maybe that's 2 words. I'm gonna squish them together. Joe Biden can do it, and he's president. You can see the panel gap. I mean, there's a gap. Things open and close. It looks pretty good. It's red. The side pipes are there. Also, that's another misnomer. They don't get so hot that they burn the crap out of you. They only burn you if you're cream puff. And if you're that big a cream puff, you shouldn't be driving a Dodge Viper. But the catalytic converters do get very hot, and they're up in here. So that's something to note. People do modify these things, but naturally you don't want to go taking your cats off unless it's the track, because Creepy Joe gonna get you probably nowadays. But again, if that makes you angry, you're a cream puff, and why are you even watching a video on an awesome American icon like the Dodge Viper? Because you are probably not the kind of person to drive it, and I don't care. That's about it. They do have issues, the early ones. The fan temperature comes on a little too late, so if you're sitting there, it can start getting hot. So you may want to control it to get your fan temperature lower and have a lower degree thermostat help you out there. Now, the other thing relating to the Gen 1 engines, the way the cooling system is routed, it goes all the way to the back and up, and there's high spots and such. And it's actually a pain in the butt to bleed the cooling system on the Gen 1s. You actually have to sometimes get the front end way up in the air with a lift or something. And I hate that. As long as you have it bled properly, and especially if you have a little lower thermostat and something with regard to your fans, it will cool good enough. And plus, you're not really gonna wanna be in stop and go traffic. That's not what this is for. You're not gonna enjoy it. So get out there in the countryside, power slide around safely, and have fun. Listen to your Top Gun cassette tape. You can go to Danger Zone if you want. I think that's trite. Mighty Wings is a better song. Changed my mind. So that is the Dodge Viper and why you gotta have it. Now, I love this car. However, I have considered selling it. So if you want one of the early builds from 92, serial number 30, I am open to selling it. But if nobody does, or you're annoying, I don't care, I'll keep it, because it's awesome. See you guys next time.
Jim's book, Breaking All the Rules, the inside story of the new space race, was really good. I hugely enjoyed it. And the reason being is, frankly, Jim and his life is no different than basically all of my students at Genius Garage. And I think a lot of you car guys are going to relate. So how did he go from nothing to where he's at? How did the collapse of the Soviet Union come into play? Governments, and even a young Jim urinating on the Russian embassy. It's a lot of fun. But I think what you'll get out of it the most is just enjoying and seeing how life's journey can take you from nowhere to somewhere. So I hope you enjoyed the bet with Jim and everything to come. I think there's going to be some more fun things, and I'm going to have some fun with these commercials since I lost the bet. But check out Breaking All the Rules. It's really easy to find. Jim Cantrell, go to his website and the availability. If you've found this video, I'm pretty sure you can find out how to buy his book. Catch you guys later.